Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we are playing some best of 3. I've been really enjoying best of 3. I've kind of been pivoting to it more and more as I play arena longer and longer in terms of recording YouTube content. But we are playing blue-black tempo. And why are we suggesting this deck list today? Because it is the #1 represented deck according to MTG Goldfish. I'm not sure what like Untapped says or MTG Deck says, but this is the #1 represented deck for now, at least. It used to be Esper, but we kind of moved on to this. The main thing about this deck that you kind of want to play around is I generally feel that you should treat Gix as a one of when you have it. Unless you do have a second one, then you can be a little bit more loose with it. But you really want to play this down when you're going to get value off of it. And obviously it's matchup dependent. So I recommend a lot of times playing this Preacher first, kind of let it be the water tester. Be like, if they don't remove Preacher, we know we're good. But if they remove Preacher, now it's less likely they're going to be able to remove the Skix. And then we're going to get a ton of value off our Deep Cavern Bat or the Spyglass Siren that we played on turn 1 or 2. Other than that, you pretty much play this tempo game. You pretty much play at your opponent's turn. If you can, with spells like Make Disappear, Cut Down, Go for the Throat, or Tie, as well as Fairy Mastermind. Other than that, we got a little sideboard here. It'll be in the deck list in the description below. And we're just going to go ahead and hop into the games. And if you enjoy my content, please, for me, subscribe maybe, you know. Be a cool cat. Join the team, you know. But other than that, let's go ahead and hop into the games, see how they go. In the choice, I'll play first. Tough. I will, all as good as that hand could have been. Okay, I guess I'm just in a tough spot regardless of what I do. So I'll keep here. I'll send it back to the bottom. Play into the island. Oh boy. My favorite matchup. Oh, it's Esper. Oh, even better. I love Esper. It's my favorite matchup. I love sitting across from Esper and just being like, hey, man, do you want to trample over me with your Rafine? Yeah? Okay. Sounds great. Best case for us here is to draw lands. But, you know, yeah, that goes. We'll miss land. It's fine. Our opening hand had 1. This had 2. We felt like we had to keep. Disappear this. We're pretty good at just tapping out for every spell. Tap land, attack again. Now here's the only problem, is now we get hit with Wedding Announcement. Or second Rafine. Never mind, I'm a liar. Can't attack. I can cut down it though. Which is quite funny, to say the least. My mana is just being awkward. But I think I have to cut down this. Auto-pay? Do you think, if anything, that they want to do next turn? I think they want to get Wedding Announcement down and just start getting its value production up. They could Emperor exile my bat, but I just don't feel like that's what they would do. Holding up Destroy Evil plus like playing the Wedding Announcement seems so much better. Or playing Adenic at the same time, so it doesn't matter. And I just missed the land again. Decides to Destroy Evil. Guess I kind of have to bat again. To Destroy Evil and just not play into the Emperor. One of my outs is hitting a land playing Shieldred. Or holding up Urtai and then playing Shieldred. Preacher's like fine. But it's all bad. No blocks. Got 3 damage through. Now we're close to even Stevens. I didn't attack to your Emperor the first time. You think I'm done it this time? Oh, just more tap lands, dude. Why not? When it's getting to be as physically impossible for me to win as possible. Though, weirdly enough, our chances are fine. Unless they play like a Virtue here. I'm good on attacking. I've already dealt with 2 Rafines. Those draw odds are a lot worse. Maybe making a 2-2 here. Well, probably making a 2-2. They could plus on Denic and then plus on it again, which would give it first strike and 4 lifelink. So if I block with the Preacher, it's gone, but Nganju's a draw. Preacher's probably not blocking regardless of what they do. Jesus. Like, you kidding me, dude? They're like, what'd you say about Rafine? I drew another one. I don't know what to tell you. No activating of the Emperor. Now they're forced to discard an actual card. Keep it around. For the threat. And Ganjo it. No? What do you say? And this is a big counterspell.
The people.
I mean, here's my Shieldred. Pass my turn. Oh, now the pause is the anchorage. Maybe. Be cut down. I'd lose my Deep Cavern Bat. They would get to destroy evil and then blow up my Shieldred. All possible here. Now if they attack, there's a lot coming in. But they also lose 8 if they attack all out. I lose roughly the same. Sure. Just like the potential typical like situation where you just play Shieldred in best of 3 and it's sometimes just good enough. Sometimes. Got down Destroy Evil plan finally up. So you should see if I block, but I'm not going to. Shieldred basically gains that life back. If I get lucky enough here on a land that's untapped. Oh, sick. Answer this Rafine. I'd like to do it on their turn. Like maybe on their upkeep. No attacks. Well, that's kind of an annoying card to have to counter. Counter target spell or activated ability. Hopefully they did it. Do it earlier. Like you had the mana to do it earlier. Why not? Did I have my mana untapped there? No, because I needed to undraw. I just slammed a Shieldred and called it a day. But they decided to wait for some reason. They played Wedding Announcement, but haven't played land this turn, so they had 3 mana available. I don't know. Destroy Evil, very tough card, if you would. The only real problem for them, though, is even if they do commit all this stuff down, right? Not holding the land to discard to Rafine's kind of wild. But maybe they're trying to just ride Rafine to the promised land. Definitely could be.
Remember your train.
Sure. That's another flyer. At some point, hopefully I can deal with these flyers, but right now I cannot. Cards in hand. Maybe the other card was a land, so they're just like willing to do this. Seems that way. A 13. No blocks for me. We got opponent. Ooh, that's tough. It's tough. Weird time to do it, but a time to do it, I suppose. Definitely no attacks here. I'm not trying to get their Dennick to trigger at all. Down to 11. Just make a 2/2, slam a virtue. Grow to the point of one-shotting me. If that gets the case, I'll fairy mastermind this. I don't care. If we get close enough that it's lethal. Sure.
I have got new moves to teach you.
Sure. How many attackers we got? A lot. Still other freaking triggers on the stack. Wow, they had no more lies. And they double hit. Jesus. Okay. My bad, big dog. I didn't realize you were built like that. We can stall a turn here. Great Maximize is not even necessarily that good for them. Ugh. I think I have a choice. This is dead. So block here, 7 hits. I block, blah, blah, block. So 7 hits plus 5. I'm dead. Sick. I had to make sure I wasn't just gonna concede out of that game. I think lilies are deceivingly good against this matchup because Esper sucks if they don't have any cards in hand. Like, or it's lower to cards in hand, not necessarily just cards, but just like getting to that awkward low count. They just generally can't do anything. I think the restes are weirdly good in this matchup. They can be bad at times, but they can also be really good. And then I don't know how they deal with Trespasser most times. Like, wedding announcement on it is not necessarily that great. And then Gix is good. Urtai has never been that great here. Gix can be trimmed. You're probably bad, even though you're like, okay. I have no idea how I want to trim here. I mean, Lily's probably bad against wedding announcement, I guess. Oh boy. I like that, I guess. Play first. Another small land hand size, but I'll keep regardless. My 3 opening hands have been a 1-lander, a 2-lander, and a 2-lander. I could maul, but I'm definitely taking the risk on this one. Take a look. What do you got for me? Baneful Stroke, Tidebinder. Go for the third, I guess. Baneful Stroke's like fine, but I don't really care too much about it. Nothing really going on here. Sure. 10. Done. Now, if they want to play a wedding announcement, feel free. Destroying another target creature planeswalker. Draw the card. Maybe they'll hold up Tidebinder. Fantastic. Now I attack. Preacher triggers. They Tidebinder. I go for the throat it. Or I attack. They have to decide whether they want to block or not. Gix is in play, and that's pretty tough for them to beat regardless. They have 3 lands in hand. Plus this Tidebinder that can also go for the throat next turn. Doesn't really matter because it doesn't trade with anything. So sure, I'll play a Gix here. Because now they're going to want to counteract my Gix, not my Preacher. Because it is a 3/2. Double attack. Preacher trigger. You decide. I'm drawing a card, nevertheless. Either way, I draw a card. We have, like, just enough removal here. Gildred's a great draw. Especially if they're like Sidebinder here to stop this Gix, and then they decide wedding announcements to play. Would you like to shut this off? That makes sense. I'll take that action though. What is your card of choice that you drew? Not even that it's necessarily a choice, but land. What do you got for me? Removal? I know what that seemed like. Which is like fine, because either way, I'm going for throwing your Tidebinder. Or do this one. Egg card, talking Numa, get Tidebinder back. Painful stroke, I don't care. Wedding announcements by far the worst. This is where blue black is at its best. Then your opponent has 4 lands in play. Sure. Yeah, fine. I ain't got to draw. Come on, that card's nuts. Yeah, we definitely just keep manipulating our hand here. And yep. This is how strong blue-black can be. We're kind of seeing it full force here. I know, like, obviously they've been missing lands, but I'm not entirely sure what else could have played out that they would have just had the answers to. Sure. I'll fully untap here. Like, what does Fairy Mastermind do? I cut down it, I duress this out, and I take the draws, and then I can potentially slam a shielded after. All that seems like a good idea to me. I just have to hit and untap land here. I'll attack. Pretty sure will be in play. We'll trigger. They'll flash it in. I'll cut down it, like I said. We cut down it. Tap source. Sweet. Then we duress them, and then we will get to do whatever. Is there anything that they showed us that's whatever? I mean, duresses are obviously good, I think. I do think Liliana's good, but I mean, that requires my Gix and stuff to resolve. But Liliana's are also probably worse here on the draw. I don't think that's worth. It does get this. It's all the 1/1s, but outside of that, it's not good. Maybe I just play a little bit. Oop. Maybe I just play a little bit more with negate around. Huh. Big X is just like a never cut. I'll try to trim a preacher, I think. Now I'm just gonna trim one more siren, I guess. I need a cyborg guide. Real bad. Oh, would you look at that? Hey, Maul. I get a draw, a map, a draw, and a draw. So I get like 4 or 5 looks. I think it's 4, right? I get 1, 2. Oh, actually, I get 1, 2, and then 3 draw. Yeah, I get 4 looks. Actually 5, because if it's not a land, obviously I'm gonna put it on the bottom. That's why that's where I'm missing it. Because if I map and it's not a land, then I'm throwing it. Fine, it's perfect. Okay, sure. Now it's, do I get batted on turn 2 here? Knows. You know? I sure don't. No. Oh, and I get to hold up and make this appear? Dick. Definitely down to do that. Don't worry. My map does nothing. I mean, there's a lot of reasons for me to pass with 2 mana up that I don't think my opponent really needs to be all that worried about. Here. I'm cool if they use a removal spell for the Spyglass Siren. We'll bend that. Looking for bigger, better things. Right here. Combat. Attack. Bonk on the head. Bonk. Ass. That is fine. Yeah, they have way better cards for my make disappear. Like that one. Yes. Kaplan. X command. I'm just gonna pass with this. I can either make a Mirix token or I can make use Urtai if they play something I need to counter. I'll just go for the throw that. Could argue maybe I'm supposed to make a Mirix token, go to my turn. If I hit a land, and then I go for the throw that, slam a Gix, but I feel like counterspell has to just be kind of barreled and held in hand here. Get a duress, kind of right on time. Binder. Okay. If that's the case, I think it's the perfect time to slam a Gix. They don't have removal right away. They don't necessarily have counter magic either. So maybe we'll get revealed information off that. Like if they want to play a tap lane or something. Could be a virtue, could be a lot of things. Oh boy. Back. I mean, third. Yep. Weird to not see them do anything. Binder's fine comparatively. Like if they shut this off, Deep Cavern Bat's just sack fodder for me. Like now I have a counter spell for 4 mana. I mind. I kind of want to just counter this. The 3/2 flyer and it's kind of tough for us to deal with. Who knows? The counter spell doesn't work either with it. If they counter this, it still just doesn't work. So we're guaranteeing to get this Denic off the board, so even if they... Okay. Have Spell Pierce. You feeling it, Mr. Krabs? I want to use this Urtai to get more creatures on the board, but I think I'm supposed to just go for the Throtus. I don't want to give him extra cards in this spot. Now maybe we'll hit and draw a land. Oh. A tough spot. This could get Wandering Emperor exiled. Ooh. Desperation play. They'll hit. Then they'll map. On top here. Another land, and Gonjo is the land. Oh, and a tap land. Okay, well, guess what, Gix? We have another attack that we can do here. You're so nuts. Attack. Yeah. Sure. We got opponent. I think these had... I don't remember what their mana count was. They might have just had Anchorage mana up. Yeah, I'll tap this. Thank you. Maybe they have counterspell for it. Been holding it for a while, maybe. We weirdly can outgrow this in Ganjo, by the way. But counter target spell. This one. They bring up land and attack, then use a map. It's a little weird. I think their goal was to try to get a counter on it so it could just block Gix, if I had to guess. Huh. Having Ganjo. We attack like this. Make it a little bit weirder for him. And Ganjo it. Sweet. Let's play our tap land here. It's a little awkward, but gotta do what we gotta do. Have 6 mana. There it is. Yeah. Tap land does us a lot of good, by the way. Sure. Hi, Bidner. Have a counter spell for this? Wow, they do. Sick draw. I'm at 8. Bean on top. Wow. Go for the throat's good. I have 4 damage plus I can mill over the Rafine. They have one. I have exactly lethal if they draw a deck card that way. Because of how that just works. Sure. You. Oh, well, that's not good. That's not good at all. We did play a tap lane just now, so if they attack plus play Dinnick and hope that's good enough, we're actually good. Bring up your man land, please. Bring up your man land and attack me, please. Oh, it's so sick. I believe this works, right? So we have got blue and a black. This is 4. We have 5 plus 2. Oh wow, it works out perfectly. We actually skate by here. Devastating. Here. I'm gonna let him know that I have it. We bring this up. We get in there, and we have exactly for lethal. Very cool. Didn't get to use that Gix command there, but finding lethal off the land, taking a 1-turn kind of gamble risk, and being able to mill over their Rafine, that would have been a little bit harder for us to remove. It would have required an untapped source, which we did end up hitting regardless, but I mean, getting by it better than not. Okay, my opponent was given choice of play or draw. They take the play, of course. Not really even a question, right? It's just like taking the play or you taking the draw. We have a pretty solid hand. We have a 1, 2, and a 3 drop, and both 3 drops are pretty strong in general, so we'll take it. Oh god. Okay. Lock in. We got a long way to go. Now, do I deep cavern bat regardless? Yeah. I'll play his tap land, make sure my land's kind of coming untapped. Or y'all just is fine. Not necessarily the best thing in the world for me. Just gets bigger. That's okay. This one. One card in hand, right? Well, okay. One important card in hand. And we just have to dodge. Even though they milled over a lot of lands. They played 29, I think, is the ongoing list. They have 2, 5, 9 in total. I'm not blocking that. No way. I mean, if you just rip it, you just rip it, you know? Not a whole lot I can do to stop you from accelerating your mana by a ton and then slamming this next turn and I'm within range and dying. So, you know, if you got it, you got it, I guess. Very annoying. Hey, a little late, but, you know, worth a shot, I suppose. They just do it now. Well, I know tide binders are coming in. That's for sure. It's to shut off Nissa's, shut off these. We're gonna gain a ton of life. Don't even. Okay, it's not gonna ask me. I have no priority holds. Stick 7, 8, 9. So make this spear isn't good. Make this spear is probably awful in this matchup regardless. So I'll probably never keep it in. But here, I think the play actually is just to allow this and hope to God I'm not dead. Color black. Here. Move this, please. Yep. This one? I hate the fact that I have to take memory to lose. Just allow this to happen. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. They're pretty close to out of lands, though. They have 4 left in the deck, I think. I think that's why we see them grab Archaeologist here. They slam that. Now they can play Archaeologist. You can ill-time explosion me here. I mean, we either dodge it or we die to it. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. What do you got? I mean, they're deciding, so. Yep. You got it, big dog. This one. These ones. This one. These ones. This one. And this one. I don't think, like, cut downs matter at all. Actually, you're fine. It's weird because we want pace, but I don't think we can have like bad pace. Our Shieldred's just awful in this matchup. I think Shieldreds are just dead in this matchup. Even though it is kind of our fastest hitting card, I think they're just dead. Fairy Mastermind also dead. Yeah, because I mean we saw their deck. Doesn't draw. Only card that draws in the deck, I think. They have memory to lose. This obviously doesn't draw either. We just need counter magic and hand disruption. So Spell Pierce also not good against the deck that makes a ton of mana. From here. And maybe we're just running like this. Guess so. I'll be on the play. Can I default that? That'd be so sick. It's like asking me, and I'm like, brother, I would just draw my starting hand if you'd let me. Duress, and Bat, and we can kind of do them both essentially. I mean, I'm gonna keep this. I'm gonna play the tap lane first, and then I'm going to look at their hand with Deep Cavern Bat. It's kind of my goal. I would say they're normally on a tap lane turn 1. And if there's really nothing, I'm gonna slam a Preacher. Deep Cavern Bat. Virtue, Aftermath, Barrage. Yeah, Barrage makes sense. Barrage like barely makes sense, I guess. Aftermath, thank you. I could have taken the Barrage and then just like whatever, but I can also just arrest this. Maybe they won't barrage this right away. Sure. Not with me, I guess. And now it's just a time to play land play here. It's like, this isn't going to be played this turn. This isn't going to be played this turn. They have to hit a land. Or they just play this. Then hopefully I'm set up to counter it. This, sure. They make a 1/1 here. Attack. I didn't figure. Sure. I guess I have to Tidebinder the Nissa. Just makes her mana weird. I have 1 in there. It could technically also World Soul Rage for 1, in which I just counter the World Soul Rage. I could also Virtue, and I can counter the Virtue. Get that off the board. Now we don't have to worry about it. We can attack with our Preacher. We'll definitely block with our 1/1. We're looking for cards here. Want to stay higher. The Preacher's good. Attack. Man, it just really does not want me to get to duress here. I guess it's fine, right? Play Siren. I don't trust Arena sometimes. This one. Yes. World Soul Rage times 2. I went for it last turn. I'm gonna get the Virtue just so I don't have to deal with it. You hit a land. I mean, you play 29, so you realistically should hit a land here. Unless you're a big land trimmer. A sideboard option. That makes sense. Could argue maybe that's why I'm supposed to grow that, but now they can make 2 mana here and then also play the Analyst. Best case, they hit another Nissa. But of course they wouldn't. Why would they? Who knows? Next turn they might waste their entire turn, which would be sick for us. I can D-stroke. I can duress. I can Siren, but then that gives them a target that works. Looking to just Tidebinder this. Move in. Sure. Or on. Sick. You have another one. What's the point of leaving there? I mean, what are these? They're 1/3s. Maybe to help me hit it. Sure. I don't know. Very weird. A lot of lands, a duress right away. Very cool. A graveyard trespasser to eat the lands, but also is awkward to remove. Even though a lot of times they don't care, but they keep their opening 7. Get a mountain right away again. Barrage is what they're looking for. Guess I'm down to just play Mirrex and then duress them. Right away. A little look. Do not care, because this is only white or blue. Uncounterable. It's not like... Just like not that bad for me. I can just negate this and the World Soul Rage maybe, or make this appear either. Real problem kind of comes down to making sure I have like Graveyard Trespasser mana a little bit, so I can play it and then have a mana up after. We pass here. Bad. We got one more turn. They could technically World Soul Rage, targeting us for 1 and ramping by 1. But is that fine for us to play a Trespasser? Just start hopefully eating their lands? I think it is, right? Got one. And sure, they World Soul Rage me for 1 and get a land back, but I don't think that's near as bad as like letting my other mana down like next turn. And constantly being able to attack with a creature that they're going to have an awkward-ish time removing seems fine with me. Especially if they don't cast a spell, then I just start exiling multiple cards from their yard. Combat. They did nothing here, so attack. Exile both of these. Maybe Graveyard Trespasser finding a way back into the meta somehow. What you got for me? Nothing? Okay. On the 19. I'm not casting spells. Use negate because we want to be able to counter their creature potentially. Like if there's a Nissa that goes on the stack here, I make disappearing it. 1 damage if it's a white or blue. Good. Go for it. Yep. Did not have to pay the ward cost. Like, the spell cannot be countered. That was okay. That was weird. Did they think Barrage just like was anything? I mean, we'd always play it, but fair enough. All right, well, I played blue black. I played best of 3 like I've been complaining to myself to just do instead. It's way more fun. I don't like tilt as much when I lose because I'm like, I got games 2 and 3, or if I win game 1, I lose game 2. It's like, all right, cool. I'm on to play for game 3. It's just like a better experience for me overall. Like right now, I think when Boros Convoke wasn't in the meta, I enjoyed best of 1 a lot because it felt like you had a lot more like games. Like, I understand that sometimes you can get blown out and that's fine, but getting blown out over and over again is not fun. But let's talk about this deck. I don't really care about that anymore. But this deck did well. It did really well in the challenge, and that's why we're kind of bringing it up here. This deck's been floating around for a very long time. I think it's actually #1 in the most played meta according to MTG Goldfish. I'm not sure what Untapped says or anything like that, but on Goldfish, this is the #1 represented deck in tournaments. The sideboard's pretty cool, but how? What is the things that you need to look out for when you play this deck? Because I've played this deck multiple times, and I've had very conflicting kind of like experiences with it. One, I think you have to value Gix as though it's like a one of if you ever have it in your hand. You want this in order to outvalue and outgrind your opponent. Like anytime Gix is online, it doesn't immediately get answered, and you have say like a Siren or a Deep Cavern Bat or both even, and you get to play Gix and hit them and start drawing cards. The games feel so easy. They feel so good and easy if you're just constantly drawing with this. So therefore, I recommend if you're playing a matchup and you have Preacher in your hand, I would generally jam this first over Gix. Obviously, that's match dependent, and it really does matter. Against Control, I might cash in on Gix and just play it, hit them twice, take 2 draws because I'm ready for it to populate, for example. Where Preacher, I kind of have to wait to get that value, where Gix kind of gives it to me right away. But the other thing, too, that Gix does a lot of times is it really helps you find to make this appear and keep it in your hand, or like the Fairy Mastermind against the draw decks, or in the late game, get to this Urtai or the Shielder to hopefully close out the game. Gix is, in my opinion, in this deck, the most pivotal piece. I could be wrong. I haven't played a super ton of games, so somebody with more experience could obviously tell me otherwise. But this card feels like the best card in the deck, but being legendary and kind of a hard mana value card to play with, 3 Myrixes, Restless Reefs coming in tap, Darkslick Shores coming in tap sometimes, or Shipwreck Marsh on the other side of that. Kind of like temporary tap, but permanently kind of ish, whatever. Just happens. Also some damage here, which makes playing Gix a little bit harder at times. Outside of that, I mean, against the slow, more mid-range decks, when you do get this online and it sticks and stays around, it does feel super easy, and Preacher's like a really good thing to play after. But the list is pretty solid. It's also pretty tight as well. I don't think there's a whole lot of things you really want to cut. You could argue this goes away in a lot of matchups, and Shielders are sometimes dead. For example, in the Ramp matchup, I would say Shielders was gone. Like, you should definitely probably take this out. You could argue taking this out too. My problem why I didn't really want to take this out is they're mainly a land deck, so you're always going to kind of trigger the bat ability of this. But also, if you're already playing so much hand disruption, just use Aklizots to help you continue that path and that trend. And just be that last kind of card that you play whenever you have a Liliana kind of established. I did change one card from the list that I was previously playing. It did play like Exile effect for the highest mana cost. I just put a second Liliana in. I'm very particular when it comes to me about having kind of like a solid sideboard plan in terms of what I want to bring in, what I want to take out, in terms of like, I like having multiple copies of things like high binders. I would hate it if there was just one, so I enjoy 2. Gix makes sense because it's so weird to have it kind of in your opener if it doesn't work well. Like, you don't want a ton of Gix command. Some decks do. This one particularly does not. But overall, the only other card that really impressed me was this one, and it was one matchup. But I think Graveyard Trespasser's been yearning to try to get back into the meta, but the problem is with Preacher being printed, it really did just kind of stamp this card's exit on the format, which does suck. This card was so dominant before, but I do think in a deck like ours, Graveyard Trespasser is so sick at getting that 2-for-1 value, especially when people are still not playing Long Goodbye very often. I just now started noticing it showing up in challenges where people are starting to play 1 in the main board. Now it's up to 2 because it is so strong. Like, it's so good against this deck particularly, where it removes all these for free. I cannot stop it. Also, Rafines is like another thing that kind of answers. But outside of that, I'm going to let y'all go. That's really all I got. If you played Blue-Black before, you understand how the tempo game kind of plays, if you've played it enough. But if you haven't played it, maybe I gave you some insight on kind of how the deck hands look, and maybe some insight on how to play around it. So other than that, I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.